This Sunday is the third Sunday in the Easter season, and as we have these resurrection stories featured in the Gospels, we reach this very interesting and tender story of Jesus appearing to the two disciples as they are walking the path to Emmaus, and how he speaks with them and unfolds all of the prophecies that have led to and foreshadowed Christ's earthly ministry, and yet they are completely oblivious who it is that's walking along with them until the breaking of the bread. And in that moment, they realize that they are with the resurrected Christ. And of course, we see this as somewhat of a manifestation and symbol of knowing Christ's presence through the Eucharistic meal. So that intimacy of Christ's presence, expressed especially through that communal action, is something very important in the Easter season, as indeed it is all year long. But it's something that we really focus on here in this third Sunday of the Easter season. And we have, of course, a lot of beautiful Easter hymns and prayers that go along with that Eucharistic theme. And at the offertory, we have an anthem that I'm very excited about, actually. I try not to talk too much about my personal tastes in these videos, but this is a piece that I really love, and I'm very excited to share this with the congregation. This is a new piece for our choir. It's not quite 10 years old. It's by the contemporary British composer Roxana Panufnik. And Panufnik has done a lot of work in chamber music, orchestral music, and has written some really beautiful choral works. She's a very intelligent and interesting and yet very tuneful and accessible composer. And this piece is Deus est caritas, God is love, with this text taken from the first letter of John, that if we abide in Christ, we are abiding in love, and if we abide in love, Christ abides with us. And this idea that is so central to us here at St. John's, we really dwell on this a lot, that God is love, and that everything that we experience in life that is loving and caring, those are ways that we see Christ in each other, in the world, in ourselves, the way we experience Christ's presence, just as those apostles experienced Christ's presence in the breaking of the bread. The anthem itself is for an 8-part choir. So we have the decani and the cantorus, the two halves of the choir that face each other. They will be singing sometimes antiphonally, sometimes together, sometimes in dialogue. And all the while, the organ has this sparkling accompaniment that just shimmers, a little bit like one of our other popular anthems, Jonathan Dove's Seek Him That Maketh the Seven Stars. There's this pattern that goes on and sparkling stops on the organ. And then the decani, the side that's on the pulpit side, they come in first with those words, Deus est caritas. And then there's a middle section which has some very coloristic effects, and then a return to that opening section. It's a beautiful and exuberant work. I think she captures God is love in a very way that is palpable. We're very excited to share this with the congregation this Sunday. At the communion, the choir will be singing a setting of O Sacrum Convivium, those familiar words, O Sacred Feast, by Thomas Aquinas. And it is set by the 20th century French composer, Olivier Messiaen. So if you think of Claude Debussy, works like Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun or Clair de Lune, if he's sort of a musical equivalent of Claude Monet, Olivier Messiaen comes a little bit later and kind of stretches that impressionism to its limits, kind of like Paul Cézanne did in his paintings. So it still kind of has that Debussy feel to it, but it's really pushed to the extreme. It's very hushed and quiet, and yet it has this ecstasy that talks about the Eucharistic feast. And And those chords are so magical in the way they evoke a mysticism and an ecstasy all on their own. And of course, as I said earlier, we have lots of other great Eastertide hymns and prayers. And we hope that as you continue through this joyous Easter season and the springing of the earth, that you will join us as we worship here and celebrate the Eucharist together, God with us, here at St. John's Cathedral.